Oh, I love it. I love it. So how is everyone in San Luis Obispo? What's the energy like?
She is in San Francisco, where San Luis is now represented. Italy has been on. New Zealand.
Christina's giving a great recap of our morning edition in case you missed it. We went live from Washington, D.C., from Milan, Italy. We had friends tuning in from all over the country, from Ohio, Nashville, California. And what you're seeing there to my right is the Women's March live in San Luis Obispo. You might notice something that most of the people there are wearing, and they are pink hats with ears. And those are actually the pussy hats. There are millions of pussy hats around the United States. We've seen them now everywhere that we've been live, pretty much. And Christina, can you read us some of those signs? They look awesome.
Thank you. I'm just giving you guys all kinds of signs.
They're great. You're live right now, and we're loving it.
Yeah, the visuals are outstanding.
Yeah, so you are looking at San Luis Obispo, California. It's a very small town, actually. If you're unfamiliar, it's halfway in between LA and San Francisco on the central coast of California. It looks like a very lively crowd there. The population, I believe, is only around 40,000. Many of them go to Cal Poly University. And it looks like a very loving squad. And a sunny day, no less. Oh, look at that. That's a list of all the things that people are marching for today. Something important to note, there's been a lot of questions about why the Women's March is happening and what it represents. And just so everyone watching has clarity once and for all, it is a message to our government and to the world that women's rights are humans' rights. And we are marching in the name of everyone that is a minority for their race, for their religion, for their sexual identity, and frankly, anything else that's underrepresented in our current government. So this is a nonpartisan demonstration, and one truly in the name of unity and equality, and that's why we were so excited to bring you shots like this live from around the country to see the smiling faces and people taking action to spread the love. There are some great signs right there. Look at how colorful those are. There's some artists in my hometown, I dare say.
Yeah, beautiful day. It's overcast and a little cold here in DC.
Yeah. Is there anything planned, Christina? Is there going to be any speakers or music going on? Apparently there already is.
Right.
So far, I don't know about you guys, but so far, my bias aside, this march looks like it might be the most fun. Everyone looks pretty smiley. We've got live music. It's not too packed.
Savannah, what time did that start today?
I'm not actually 100% sure, to be completely honest with you. I'm not sure. Christina, can you hear us? Do you know what time the festivities started today? I think they just started. I think it's starting right now at 10 o'clock. Actually, speaking of, part of the reason we timed this show this way is most of the West Coast celebrations are kicking off this hour. Earlier this morning, we were there. Oh, go ahead, Christina. What do you got for us?
Speed. You get in there too.
Oh, yes. Look at those little girls.
Thank you. Why
So
are you guys
cute.
today?
Why did you get extra small? I'm not here because I think that women have the right not to be raped, so that they can make their own choices.
Very nice. And why are you out here today?
Women have equal rights.
You're right on, girl. High five.
That's awesome. I hope everyone heard what those little bright minds just had to say when Christina asked them why they were out there in short, women's rights are equal rights. I think that is the perfect interview from our reporter, our volunteer journalist in San Luis Obispo, California. Thank you so much, Christina. Marla, did you just join us from Los Angeles?
Hi, can you tell me why you're out here today? For women's rights. Way to go, little woman.
Everyone's got their hats on. Christina's doing a great job. If you're just tuning in to this broadcast or joining us and are about to go live, the footage next to me is San Luis Obispo, California, a small town halfway in between San Francisco and Los Angeles, where you can tell there are, I would say, thousands of demonstrators and empowered women of all ages. We just heard from some of the younger ladies in attendance today. And it's a great inspiration and start to our show today.
And we have Marla and Jen Nelson in the green room.
Hey guys.
From the new president.
All right.
Great. Okay, so I know that we have Marla and Jen, I believe, in our green room. Ladies, welcome.
Hello.
Hi, Savvy.
I don't
Can
see
you hear
Marla
me?
or
So
Jen
nice.
yet.
We can definitely hear you both. Thank you.
Great. I'm driving downtown right now. The trains are packed here in LA from what I hear from my sources who are all coming from all over the city.
Oh, I believe it. Marla, so Marla, for everyone who's listening, is coming to us from Los Angeles. And things are getting a little rowdy in San Luis Obispo. Forgive us. Marla, what are you expecting to see in LA today? What's the energy as you're driving down?
Well, like I said, I've got a group that I'm meeting up with, and we're supposed to meet at the Millennium Biltmore Hotel as a starting point. But already people are saying there's so many people everywhere. They're getting pushed up Fifth Street in Los Angeles. So I haven't seen much yet. I've decided to drive, believe it or not, and pay exorbitant fees for parking, I'm sure, and walk. I've got good walking shoes because these trains, I'm very happy to hear that the metro is probably getting the most use it's ever had. I even heard rumors that the tap cards, which are the cards you fill up because you can't use coins or money to get into the turnstiles, those are even sold out. You have to go to other places. So I'll let you know more when I get downtown. It doesn't look like there's too much traffic going down so far, but I'm sure as soon as I get downtown, it's going to get pretty bad. But from what I saw before I left, D.C. was packed, San Francisco was packed. I saw this morning you had my people from Milan, grazie mille to my friends in Italy for showing up. It's been a very exciting 24 hours, as bad as it could be, because of what we all know is a travesty of the electoral process. I call it actually electile dysfunction. We have, and I've copyrighted that, by the way. So, but
of course you have, you savvy businesswoman. You would, you nasty woman, you.
Well, the other one I have is POTUS interruptus, which is going to be when we want him to be impeached. So I'm all ready for that one too. But I mean, I feel badly because I've traveled all around this country and people are innately good. And we do have different experiences from the East and the West and people who live in big cities. I actually got trolled a lot on Twitter back in the days, but I actually stopped at one point to engage with someone who I said, he called me nasty something. And I said, can we talk for a minute? I said, I don't agree that Hillary did everything right. I think politicians, unfortunately, by the process, are innately somewhat crooked, not corrupt, but they have to go around certain ways. They don't get to where they go in the system we have these days without cutting a few corners or doing things. And I'm not talking about, murder or cheating. But, I'm sure there are things we don't know. And I think that, overall, my opinion is living many years on this earth and being around for the 68 marches. I was much younger then, but I remember those streets in Manhattan for anti-Vietnam War. I know that, I know that people aren't inherently up and up, but so I said to him, what's the big deal? And for him, it was very personal. Obamacare closed his brother's business because the premiums to pay employees were so high that he couldn't afford it. And I get that. And I think that, as we do a post-mortem on the election, I think we weren't, we were counting on certain things, and we weren't able to discern what, as they say, the Rust Belt wants. But at the same time, I also feel that there's no excuses for what Trump did. And I'm a New Yorker, and people say I'm crass, but I mean, I'm the Queen of England compared to this man. I mean, just, he doesn't use crass language necessarily like the F-bomb, but, he uses, terminology and gets people riled up. And it does look like Nazi Germany. I feel like there's this flock of people who want a leader to lead them, where I think that everybody has the capacity to lead themselves and definitely make their own opinions. And the other problem is that we don't read enough. And a lot of what we saw, and I worked in on-air promotion for years, promoting news. So I was one of those people who wrote those headlines who made you want to watch the news. Tonight, 47 cars crashing on the freeway. Look at the video. And so I know what it's all about. And I think that the news has become a commodity and not a service to the people. And all they want to do is sell product. And
I think,
no journalistic ethics.
Marla, I think you're hitting the nail exactly on the head on so many different levels. And I think you're expressing a lot of what we're feeling and really a lot of the motivation behind doing the broadcast today. You highlighted the fact that we're not communicating enough. To your point, people are just getting whiny and vicious on both sides of the coin. I'm not proud of my political party nor the opposition necessarily in terms of their behavior. And really, yes, so what we're trying to do today is do exactly the opposite of that and tell all the stories from all over the country, from my small town on the screen now in San Luis Obispo to you down in the lovely City of Angels to, I believe we have Jen. Jen, I'm not even sure where you're in from, but we would love to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wanted
hi, Jen. Hello.
Hi, yeah, I was
welcome to the show.
Thank
Marla, thank you so much. I know you have to drive safely. I really appreciate you popping in, and please do, once you're back at the march, let us know.
Right. If you can tell me how to get the live video when we get down there, that'll be great too. Because I think I'm just on audio right now.
Yes, we'll walk you through. No problem, sweetie. You let us know when you're ready. Thanks again for your perspective. It's always lovely to hear your voice, and I can't wait to see your face.
Absolutely.
Very soon.
And it's a beautiful, shiny day here, by the way. God is smiling on our march, because yesterday it was like a typhoon here, and I thought, oh my God, this is going to be insane. But I mean, the sun is shining, it's clear, the weather is beautiful. So anyone who hasn't made it down there, come on down, find some way, because it's going to be pretty spectacular.
Great, Marla. We can't wait to have you show it to us. Thank you so much. Drive safely. We'll talk very soon. Jen, loving that hair today.
Yeah, I planned it all for today.
Good.
No, I actually have had purple and pink hair for a little while, but I felt like it was totally appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. So where are you coming in from? Give us a little background. What's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to say it's nice to meet you. I've never met you, but I've caught you today. I caught you earlier this morning. Great job on the live show. And I'm Jen Nelson. I am Wine Antics on social media. So when you and Vincenzo were talking to Nazim in Italy, I was right there with you guys. I was right there dreaming of wine.
Cheers. Maybe we need to have some. I think maybe we need to have some. Yeah.
Well, It's my passion. Wine is my passion. And I think that with the Women's March and thinking about wine before I came on here, I was like, how many women in the small little niche are impacted by everything that's going on today in the small little niche that is wine. And so I went through my cellar really quick and I picked out 4 bottles total, 3 of them just being from the small state of Maryland that have women winemakers behind each of these bottles, like this one.
Yes.
That is Old Westminster Winery, one of the great producers here in Maryland. Lisa Hinton is the winemaker.
We've got a doozy.
And I just love the fact that this can connect with every small niche, every industry, that there's a woman behind it, that these issues impact everybody. I personally don't take a hardline stand one way or another, but I do support women's issues. Of course, being a woman, it impacts me. I'm in Virginia, by the way. I am not going downtown because I think DC is crazy right now, but I love and support everybody that is willing to brave the metro, brave the weather, because we don't have sunny weather here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I think there's arguments for both. I feel you on that. I was actually going to try and get over the Bay Bridge into Oakland to make both that march and the one happening here later in San Francisco, but it physically was going to take me an hour and a half, and we didn't have that much time between broadcasts. So sometimes we've just got to report out from where we are. I just want to give you a high five since we're new friends and both women in wine. I grew up on a vineyard. I harvested in the Paso Robles AVA growing up. It's one of my extreme passions is wine. And actually, my lovely partner here is handing me a bottle of J. Ducey, of which I am a wine club member. And this is a female winemaker out of Paso Robles, California. Not far from San Luis Obispo, where we had footage earlier today. And it's so fantastic. I think we might have to open it on the broadcast. I know we're still before 10 a.m. Over here on the West Coast. But since this is international and we have spoken to Milan, we're fair game. Right, Jen?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Yes, it absolutely is. And in celebration of our independence, I really hope we can actually additionally collaborate beyond this broadcast on a few things, because I love that you're passionate about that. Let's talk a little bit more about that. So I think what you just said is awesome, and something that a lot of people still haven't quite wrapped their head around, which is this march isn't partisan. Like you said, you're not for one side or another, but you're for women, you're for rights, you're for business. Where does that passion come from in you?
I think primarily because I'm in the trenches every day. I am a small business owner. I am, a solopreneur, which is not even the best term anymore because I have a great team of people, both men and women, working with me. But because I see people that are in my niche industry of wine that are women and men and collaborating together, and that if they're equally on, out doing the work, they should be treated equal. I was in the military as well. I was in the U.S. Army. There is a very small number of women in any military branch in the U.S., and there is an interesting dynamic between the two, between women and men. And I think that mentality of, if you're on the front lines with me, if you can pick up a weapon, I can trust you to be my buddy, to take care of me. I'm going to take care of you. If we work together, you're going to be treated equal, or at least we're going to do the best to fight for equal everything. So that military mentality translates into my entrepreneurial passion.
Amen, sister. Straight up, Jen, you just gave me goosebumps. While I collect myself, I want to take a moment just to say hello to everyone who is joining us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, anywhere on the internet where you may have found this stream. You are talking to women and men all over the world today, taking part in #Women's March Live. We are looking for volunteer citizen journalists, as well as the professional, if you'd really like, to join us in our broadcast and share their stories. If you missed it just a second ago, I have Jen with me from Virginia, and she represents, I think, everything that makes America great. She has served, she is a business owner, and she is a true feminist and egalitarian in the best possible way. So I hope if you're listening and you're on the fence about whether or not you should call in, be inspired by Jen, because you can love wine, you can know how to wield a weapon, and you can still care about women's rights today. There's nothing wrong with that.
I feel like I should make a snazzy pose or something for that, because that was such a great connection to make with the audience. And I've said some people this way, so I appreciate any of the followers of Wine Antics or my personal page that have come out on Twitter, come out from Facebook and joining us today. I like I mentioned earlier, I don't see myself as a feminist per se. I don't see myself as taking a hardline stance on anything. I just know that I am who I am, and if I'm not treated fairly, I'm going to push to be treated fairly. And if I can't be there on the front lines with you guys, I'm going to share what you guys are passionate about as women for the Women's March. Share it on Twitter, watch the periscopes that are going on, encourage people that are out there marching today, and I will drink wine in solidarity for you, and of course share it.
I would pour everyone a glass of this female winemaker viticultural masterpiece that I have here in my left hand, if I could. If you are watching from home and you haven't had the pleasure of joining a march, or your march is already over, feel free to join us in wine, or maybe don't tell anyone and pack a roadie, because that can be a part of your marching toolkit. If you want it to be, just don't tell any of the Secret Service that I suggested that you do that. No, I don't think it would be a secret to
be 21
anyone
or over. If you're in the United States, be 21 or over.
Yes. Jen, I actually think you brought up something really interesting right there as well, which is feminism, the term feminist, and taking a hard line. And I think it's I'm so glad that you joined the show, because I think it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're obviously for 100% equal rights, right?
Yes,
yeah.
I am.
So help me out here, because I've been asking a lot of friends, and I would love your perspective. I think feminist has a negative connotation to many. It has a very aggressive and sort of like loud connotation, and the strict definition of the word is really equal rights for both men and women. So, and in a totally non-confrontational way, what do you think the word for that should be? Is there another term we can use? I mean, equal rights doesn't seem to get the attention that we need.
It's really funny, because the word feminist or feminism kind of connects with you being a woman and being just powerful for women. But like you said, the definition says it's just equal rights for women. So I think maybe eliminating that feminine characteristic to it would go a long way. Just pro balance, pro everybody. We're here, or an equalist. There we go. I'm an equalist.
Yeah, I think when I myself wasn't comfortable enough, or I think, versed enough / enabled enough with my platform to identify with the term feminist, yeah. I always said egalitarian, because I was like, and I think, to exactly as you just said, I mean, that's just it, right? I just thought, well, equal for everybody. Like, what is that word? It doesn't have to be something complicated.
And I think people are getting more comfortable with the word feminist, that because now there's more video out on social media, more people are being open about things that other news organizations and broadcast platforms are taking feminism and breaking down the barriers, both from a woman's perspective, a woman speaking about it, but then also men getting out. I think immediately of BuzzFeed. All of a sudden, BuzzFeed is talking about feminism, and they're getting men on to talk about it. So it's changing the perception of the word feminism and what it means to be a feminist away from the 60s and 70s mentality that it was the hard line.
Yeah, totally. I 100% agree with you. I mean, I think it's definitely happening, and I feel good about the transition. I feel good about any other terms we want to intersperse in there. Like, it's all about the positive vibes. I want to give a quick shout out to a very large crop of you who are sharing this video on Facebook right now. Thank you so much. You're all folks that I know and love. Vinny, Rick, and Frida, mwah. You have been fans of equality as well, of Savage Savvy for a very long time. Frida's actually known me since I was 12, so there's a lot of love in the house there. And what I like seeing, and actually what's been really cool about this whole broadcast, is we've been pretty equal, men and women, across the board. And to your point, of men identifying, and even mainstream media like BuzzFeed talking about feminism in a very open context. I hope that this is changing. And honestly, I'm curious. I'm going to pose the question to you first. But what do you hope the world and people who are watching today take out of this demonstration today? What do you think the message is that we're getting across to the world?
It's a very interesting question. I see that, number one, there's a ton of people across the world that are banding together for one purpose: to support women, to support, I think, equality in a broader sense. I think that solidarity is a huge message to take away from there. I think the only way to change anything that people don't believe in is that they are banding together, that there's catching fire, that there's not just this, but then the message leads and spreads out to communities, and other communities are fostered, and like-minded people come together under one banner, and they start to pick away at or erode at the inequality and the atrocities that they feel strongly about. So I think there's going to be a great spark that's going to catch fire in a lot of different communities.
Oh yeah, that's a perfect lead, and it sounds like they are kicking off the march officially in San Luis Obispo. I don't know if we can see footage of that right now, Rob, but this sounds like
How are we all together?
Oh, cool. Okay, it sounds like they've just kicked off the vocal festivities. Might actually be a little competitive with us, but that was a nice little cheer to hear. I really appreciate your response, Jen, and I think everyone there also appreciates your response. It's great to see all the support from the Central Coast of California. I've never been more proud of my people than I am right now. Not even kidding. Wow, look, they even have beautiful props. Yes, girls also just want to have fun and have equal rights. I love it.
Right now, let's listen to Melody Clement and Inga Swearingen.
Thanks, Christina. This was a really great kickoff to the festivities going on in San Luis Obispo.
One thing that I also hope that this brings out is that there's a couple of places in the world where women's rights are not on par with what we have in the United States, and which we have had since the early 20th century. So I hope that becomes highlighted. I recently watched Suffragette.
Yes.
So it was saying that there were still women in other countries that are not enjoying the liberties that we are. So if nothing else, I hope that the solidarity and the strength behind this, like I said, catching fire and igniting communities to rally behind this, reaches beyond global boundaries or the Western world that has, really grabbed onto this, but moving into other parts of the world, and people are willing to support equality across the globe.
Yes, you have you done this before? You just
No.
did an excellent. you were doing a very good job, I think, of summarizing the movement, as well as what I think all of us, no matter political background, and again, I want to keep stressing the nonpartisan side of this, are really hoping for is that unity and equality. And when we were brainstorming about this broadcast and first had the idea about a month and a half ago, I was floored to find out that there were over 600 different sister marches going on outside of Washington, D.C., including this one in San Luis Obispo that you're seeing now, and that they were happening in countries as far as New Zealand, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, France. London had a huge event. We streamed earlier some of the stuff from New Zealand. I mean, this is so much bigger than us and the current president. I think that's really been clouded a little bit, at least on the American side, but the world is viewing this as, exactly as you said, millions of people coming together to say, we believe rights for all of us are human rights. And I think that is such a beautiful message. And as we go through what was, admittedly, no matter your political stance, a bit of a rough couple of months here as Americans, our first act under this new regime is to come together in this way. I think it's so compelling. We can be a different America, and that America can be more united no matter background if we just keep up this kind of activity and these kind of dialogues. This is California talking to Virginia, talking to Maryland, talking to Milan. I mean, that is a conversation that isn't happening enough. And if this is the kind of catalyst it takes to get it going and we can build off this from there, then I would say, to your point, I mean, that would be the success. It's what happens after this, right? Not just a flashbang, but let this be the snowball that creates the avalanche.
And I truly hope for that. I hope that there's more to this as we go forward, that this momentum continues on past our the political agenda that this is hiding behind, like anti-Trump. Like, that's what a lot of people think in America, that this is what it is. But I hope that it goes so much beyond this, and people take a look at what's going on around the world in equal rights between men and women, and can get on an appropriate platform, not protesting, not protesting in terms of breaking windows, as we saw unfortunately yesterday with Trump's inauguration events, but going out there and really forming a community spirit behind this and speaking out intelligently about where they feel their rights should be in their own community and their own country, peacefully.
Isn't that a great way to
Amen. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. And I think what's really been great about even this morning, and it's really fun that you tuned in and then decided to join us live. Now, I hope other folks decide to do that too, is I had friends who saw early in the morning, woke up, saw us, and then said, oh my goodness, I'm looking up my local event because I think I should turn up. I didn't realize that it was about more than just resistance, that it wasn't just a protest, that it wasn't just some sort of riot, that it was really about demonstrating a unified belief in equal rights. And that's actually something that more of us than we realize believe in. So it's so fun that we can connect in our homes and in our local environments and really talk about it. Yeah, I think
I completely agree. I love that this is a West Coast, East Coast, like we have two coasts coming together, where party lines could be very different. Our lives and our cultures in different communities and the way we live can be so different, but that we can rally and talk intelligently about a subject, even if you're one side of the fence politically or another side of the fence, that we can come together and just have a conversation about equality. And and because I'm a woman, this is personal for me, and I relate very passionately about it, but I would be saying the same things personally about gay and lesbian rights, because I believe in equality across the board. Of course, across races, across sex, across your marital status / sexual persuasion. This is not just me as a woman standing for this one event. This is me standing for equality overall. And I don't know why I felt like I needed to say that, but like I believe in it all across the board and would support those as well.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. And I think that's actually really important to say. Again, to your point, I had male friends initially when I was looking for correspondents recommending all of their female friends. Mm-hmm. And I said, hold on, are you going? Because I believe you love and respect me. And I think you have plenty of gay friends, and I know you have Muslim friends, and I know you have Black friends. So if you're going to tell me that, it's one thing to not want to participate in some sort of pussy party. It's an entirely different thing to not recognize a million human movement that represents equal rights for all. And so it's kind of one of those beautiful moments where I want to, actually speaking of this beautiful artist in Oakland, a friend of Graham Carlisle's, created this great cape. It says Pussies for Peace. They're actually going to be running around with them in Oakland. We're hoping to get footage of these capes in action, but this is just one of the many fun symbols out there. And I think what's nice about that is as much as pussy has been graphic and taken on a really interesting spin this particular election cycle, there was a lot of negative and aggressive connotation towards the word before, and I can stomach pussies for peace on either side in a lot of different ways. And I think that's actually kind of a fun and somewhat ironic umbrella for what's happened today with the pussy hats and pussies for peace. Go figure, you know.
I feel that this is a hashtag and that there's going to be a lot of cat memes going around after seeing after seeing these memes or the capes. But I love that cape idea. And I watched some Periscopes earlier in the morning because I am within like 30 miles of DC. So I wanted to see what people were talking about, how they were becoming passionate about the march today. And it was so refreshing not only to see men of every persuasion, but then also to know or to see gay men out there and using the rainbow flag as their capes, and you know that this is a bigger movement than just women, that you know there's a little bit of solidarity and other struggles for people that are out there, and they're supporting it and moving forward with it, and that they're banding together and getting the word out there that equality isn't just about women, even though this march is highlighting it. It's about equality for races, sex, and sexual persuasion.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's not just about pussies for peace. It's about humans for peace. It's about humans for equal rights and for LGBTQ and for gender fluid and for anyone who's having any weird feeling about anything in their life and doesn't really know how to identify. We're here for you. Everyone's there for you. And actually someone who fits into all of these buckets and happens to be somebody that I harvested wine with back in the day, Lannon Rust. What is up, handsome? He is my best friend. He's also on the Central Coast of California. He's here with us in the comments. Him and I actually have gone through the whole wine making cycle. And Lannon, harvest is really hardcore. Word up, if anyone out there has ever harvested wine, it's the hardest thing I've ever done physically in my life. We'll see if that stands true after someday giving birth. But aside from that, I don't think anything will rival it that I can foresee in the future. And Lannon is one of the dudes who not only believes but has seen in the flesh how equal women are to men when it comes to things, and especially to even physical labor on a vineyard, punching down grapes and dealing with wine barrels and a whole bunch of crazy shit that we did. So Lannon, thank you for joining us today. I'm not surprised to see you there. I want to, while you have Jen and I and some other folks that are going to be tuning in, I would love to turn it to the audience and see if anyone has any questions for us. Do you want to know more about the march? Do you want to know more about the types of people that are there? Do you want to know what the future holds? Do you want to know what it means to be a female entrepreneur? Quite frankly, you have two of us here. I, like you, Jen, hate the term solopreneur. I think I have a beautiful team. I think of Vincenzo and Rob as my team as well. But people always hate on the lifestyle entrepreneur, or why aren't you scaling faster? Especially being out here in the Silicon Valley. I get really sick of that noise, because it's like, wait, I'm doing things I love with people I care about, and together we're going to build something awesome. Maybe that's an idea too.
At the pace that works for me.
Yes, and using content and stories like this. I mean, not to just totally pitch Rob and Vincenzo and I, but the whole point here is to tell stories of great humans using live video from around the country to bring us all closer together. And this is really such an awesome example of being able to do that. So Vinny, Lannon, Frida, if any of you have questions out there, Rick, I love that you're sharing. Rick's in Las Vegas. He's actually usually all over the country, so who knows where he is right now. But if any of you have any questions, or and they can even be funny or silly. Jen, I got to tell you, I'm so disappointed. Normally I have a rainbow in my hair. I have a dyed rainbow that goes through the back of my head, and it's totally faded. I mean, I just have a little bit of red, and I'm getting it done next week. But we could have been such cool hair buddies. We'll make sure the next time we're on cam that hair and wine all match, because I'm actually feeling a lot of hair envy right now. And
thank you. That was the whole goal, is to get all of the hair envy, and from somebody that is a demographic above 10 years old, because let me tell you, the people that have the most hair envy are little girls under 10 years old. I feel like I'm setting an impression, like an impression for an entire new generation of young girls that want pink or purple hair when they grow up, and I'm giving them permission going forward. Like, yes, you can be an adult and be a little different, just like with tattoos. Like, you're giving you being an entrepreneur and a proud woman and working for yourself and being successful and having tattoos tells an entirely new generation that yes, you can show your artistic side and your passionate side and still be intelligent and still be successful.
Yeah, girl, we're just gonna give you your own show next time. You were just crushing it. No, I mean, that I think actually is another part of the march today, and it's really cool to hear you validate me. I did not do this show for my personal validation. This was for everybody else's validation. But it's really awesome to hear you validate me, because part of the reason I have other tattoos, but they're not visible, like my forearm.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to a stage in my career where I said, hold on, I feel pretty cool about who I am, and you're either going to like it or you're not. So it's not going to matter if I have a rainbow in my hair or a hat sleeve. You're either buying or you're not. So I think we really have the opportunity, even on this show, though I do agree with you. I have preteens Snapchat my hair all the time. That we have the opportunity to set an example and say, you can be you. You can be a free expression. You can be whatever you want now. And I think no matter your political perspective, that is the fundamental American dream, is that you can build and be whoever you want to be.
Oh yeah, and Rob and Sam behind the scenes, I give a lot of kudos to you for the reminders and for all the making me look great. I actually do have a weekly show, so you're talking about teasing me like we should give you your own show. Well, I kind of do. I've been doing this a little bit, and it relates back to the wine side that I have back here. So I have Wine Antics Live every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I talk to influencers and I talk to people behind the scenes in the wine industry, from peers all the way up to bigger labels, and we pick a wine topic once a week. We talk about news, we talk about what's going on in the wine world. We talk about educational opportunities, tasting portfolios, and we even take once a week or once a month and talk about anything but wine, because I give myself permission with my hair to be a little bit different. I even have a shaved head over here. I also give myself permission in social media, where I'm Wine Antics, to talk about more than just wine, because wine lovers are not just strictly wine people. We drink whiskey, we drink beer, we drink coffee, we drink tea. We drink
Hell yeah, girl. Hell yeah.
We do all of that. So I'm going to pat myself on the back for my own branding, but I wanted to be able to do that. I wanted to be something more than just wine, but I wanted to give people an indication that this is where I started.
Absolutely. I hope actually I'm going to connect you after the show with Lennon, who's been watching. You guys would do an excellent show. He's a son, he has his own wine business, Russ Wine Company, where he's his own distributor. And it's just him and I are actually planning some really cool wine events for smart people that want to have proper experiences like locals, instead of the conventional stereotypical bust-in experience on the Central Coast. So shameless plug for us and for you. Perhaps there's a lot of ways we can do some really cool stuff together. And actually, I think that's one of the realms of the world, and where I think women are earning a lot of equal respect, is in wine. The great thing about content and about product is the product speaks for itself. The end result speaks for itself, and it's so fun when we can recognize women both as content creators, as winemakers. And very soon I'm going to be hosting the head of virtual reality at Ford, who happens to be a woman. And she's been doing it for 18 years. Yes, which is little known fact. Sneak peek for my new show, Secret Sauce, coming up very soon. A whole inside look at the VR lab at Ford. But what's awesome about that is VR, I think, is another space in which women are rising very rapidly in and not quite equal, not quite there yet, but it's happening in a way that I at least feel comfortable will balance the scales real soon. I can sleep at night when I think about certain verticals. And just before you respond, I want to say hello to everyone who's on Twitter. We've got a lot of folks on the scope checking in. We're so grateful to have you. Remember, if you want to join us live as a broadcaster yourself, you can. And if you're not feeling quite brave enough to do that, sharing is caring in this way. We're spreading the good word of unity and equality. Here, to jump in, you go to bit.ly for those of us who only think of it that way, /Women's March Live, or you can go ahead and share this Facebook or YouTube Live or Periscope link with your followers. Every share makes a difference. #Women's March Live. We really just want to spread the good word, and we're happy you're here to help. Okay, go for it, Jen. Sorry.
All right. Wow. You just completely. All right. And I think that you bringing up women in the wine industry and how that's changing is both a great connection to the march today that's happening all over California, happening all over the East Coast in DC and in New York, and then in London and in France, where all of these places have the wine industry. You know, stereotypically, at least in the US, most women in the US in the wine industry have been in the tasting room, or they've done marketing, or they've done PR. But that is changing so very rapidly as generations of winemakers and generations of family business, which is predominantly what the U.S. wine industry is they're having daughters, and they're grooming their daughters to take on these roles, because there is such inequality and there's less of a stigma as we go forward. We're down to the third generation of one winery, Linganore Winery here in Maryland, that has now welcomed their first female winemaker, and she's going to carry the torch. They're, like I'd mentioned, Old Westminster Winery, and they're getting so many great plugs today, but I love this family. They have their mother and their father started the operation, and now there's the three kids are running it, and two of them are women, whereas the brother, who is Drew Baker, he's doing the marketing. He's doing like a lot of the tasting room stuff, and Lisa is the winemaker. I love to see that that's shifting, and there's such a great influence of women winemakers and women in the business part of it and the viticulture part of it that are happening all across America. Yay, rah rah.
Yes, and that is so perfect. I think that thank you for sharing that. These are the stories we're trying to share today, and since unfortunately the ironic, I always feel funny talking about tech and service and Wi-Fi being here in the Silicon Valley, but unfortunately tech has made our personal broadcast of some of the on the ground action a little more challenging. I'm so stoked we're getting to hear these real stories and learn about different verticals, because this is what people don't know. To Marla's point earlier, we're not communicating enough. We're not communicating across aisle, but not even like F that. I'm over the whole, let's not define that way. We're not communicating enough, even geographically. And I think that conversations like this are so fun. I love hearing about wineries in Maryland. California wine bias. I love Italy. I love France. I love New Zealand. I mean, there's so many fun ways humans all over can come together, and we're showing that right now today live. I mean, we didn't know each other an hour ago. We're now on this broadcast. We share about 15 million things in common. And how cool, these are two women coming together because of the march, and we're able to spread a bi-coastal message of peace and equality, and we're powered right now by two really awesome dudes in the studio. And that is so cool. All of this is a huge collaboration. None of it's possible without a team, and frankly, America isn't America without the kind of stories that we're sharing here. So I'm so grateful to you, Jen, for coming on and sharing this. Please feel free to hang out in the green room. I'm going to bring on a guest from Florida here just for a little bit. Your call if you want to tune in and out, but we love having you. So thank you again. Snaps to the community if you're out there. Give Jen some love, follow everything you can. I will be tuning into her weekly wine show and can only hope to someday be on it because of some cool collaboration that we're doing. So without further ado, I would like to bring you my dear friend, conscious capitalist, and wonderful advocate for all things equality in love, in work, and in the world, quite frankly, my very, very dear friend, Vinny. He is live with us from Tampa, Florida. Vinny, how's it going?
It's good. Good to see you again. And I was catching the live stream of the march in DC and some of the stuff here. I'm seeing some pictures roll in now from St. Petersburg across the bay here with pictures of what's going on with the marches here in St. Pete. Quite a few people out. It's interesting. And I when you look at communication, you mentioned VR, and the way we communicate changes us cognitively, how we interact with people. And I think a lot of people are looking at this moment in time going, oh, we're in a bad place. Like, this women's movement has been happening for 100 years,
Right.
And but when you overlay that on communication theories, it started with the invention of video and the photograph. The women's suffrage movement started when all of a sudden photos and images and video could be shared across the country. And so when you look at this now, globalization, and this is what scares me a little bit about yesterday's speech, was we can't stop globalization. And we're finally, I think, with the internet, social media, live video, and eventually augmented reality, we are finally reaping the benefits of globalization during the industrial age. We can finally talk and communicate instantaneously across the entire globe. I don't want to undo that.
Yes, Vinny, you're talking about something so cool and so important. I want to just make sure that if anyone is following on Twitter and Periscope or wants to share, that is at Enlightened_AV. Kind of a fitting handle for today. I'm not going to lie. Enlightened, just the way you think it is, _AV. And hello to everyone who is with us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or anywhere else we may not even know about in the digital universe. Vinny, you just hit the nail on the head when it comes to communications capacity to create empathy. And I think you're talking about the new technology and the new mediums in a really, really eloquent way. I don't mean to keep coming back to the show that we're going to be doing soon, but apparently it's going to be of interest to folks, I think. One of the cool things I saw, I just had the good fortune of being in Detroit and in Dearborn at Ford's headquarters. And this is no secret. I'm allowed to share this, which is really nice. I was able to go into their VR lab, and they are looking at a variety of different ways for people to interact in sorry, I just got a message from the other side that got my goat a little bit. Forgive me, everyone. We're just keeping the good vibes going here on the broadcast. I've been up since 5 a.m. You're just going to have to roll with it. I'm already drinking wine, and I haven't had breakfast. Giddy up, cowboys and girls. Okay. Anyway, what I saw when I was there was very much to your point and to the point of why we need to keep doing, which is they are finding ways for teams, just like us people across geographies, to collaborate. And not just collaborate in the way that we are in video, but they're actually experimenting with how to collaborate in virtual reality. And it's amazing because we could both be in our headsets and we could be marching right now. And we could be a part of whatever was going on. And that future is incredible. Because, we might not be able to be in DC, or, we both live in the good fortune of being in places where there are activities going on. I mean, like I said, there's over 600 activities going on around the world today, but that still doesn't encompass a lot of people who don't live in urban areas. And we could be having a full-blown immersive experience. And actually to that point, kind of one of my fundamental philosophies as a human being, and one of the reasons I was really excited to do this broadcast today, is I've always said that it's very easy to hate an idea, but it's almost impossible to hate a face. And I think what we're trying to do today is show the faces of the equal rights movement, not just the women's rights movement, but for immigrants, for the sexually undefined, for the gender fluid, for anyone, frankly, who is here on our soil or touches our land, or we can even do anything good for, fighting for those equal rights for all. And I think by seeing our faces, and whether that experience be here, hopefully on our live show, or in the future in VR, to your point, I think it's only going to bring us closer. The virtual world can physically bring that empathy to our fingertips.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think actually one of the things that's missing and why it's so cool to be chatting with you and Jen and Marla and everyone who's all over the world today is when we watch the television, we don't get to feel it. It's very different because people are speaking a speech where they're out and about and they're doing their thing, but we're getting an edit. We're getting a different kind of cut on the world. And what I really like about what Rob and the team are doing here today and what folks like you chiming in are doing is we're saying, hey, I'm a real person. I'm just a citizen. I'm here. This is actually my apartment. Believe it or not, this is my dead orchid and my weaving behind me. And hopefully it's just going to bloom later. I hate the orchid graveyard. I can't get them to live to save my life. This is really my apartment. My boyfriend's sitting over there, the dog's in the corner, and we're real people with a real passion for making this happen. And just like you are. Yeah. So I had the chance to ask Jen, and I didn't have the chance to ask you this earlier today, but I would love your perspective because you're such an articulate, bright, and diverse mind. What do you hope the world gets out of this movement today? If you were a skeptic, say, somewhere tuning in and heard about it and then all of a sudden caught this broadcast or read a really good article or saw some compelling photos, what would you hope is the message that's delivered out to the world today?
I think that there's momentum and that there is a movement and there is a group that's working towards something. I think we're starting to shed the anger of it and working into a more productive, how do we work together to do something? I look at that and, the next 2 years before the midterms are going to go very quickly. And so there's not a whole lot.
True.
Yeah.
True.
So I look at this as a positive opportunity to come together, and I think that's playing out now. And I think the other thing is nobody in DC on either side understands the power of social media and the connectivity that's happening. They really don't. There's no policy way to change how culture is changing due to the fact that we're more connected.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you bring up, thank you, darling. My wonderful companion, Charlie, who I suspect you may see on a later broadcast, has been the fine gentleman refilling my wine. Behind every great female broadcaster and marcher, there is a great man. In the same way, behind every great man, there is a great woman or man or anyone, really, who identifies with anything, because who cares? I'm more just playing off the totally gender cliche. I'm lucky to be supported by a good gentleman and surrounded by them. I was actually thinking everyone on the broadcast today, and especially the gentlemen, are all such great men. And it's really nice because I think partisan politics aside, I'm actually really not trying to make a political statement here at all. If we were to just judge the current incumbent by a couple of the comments he's made about the female race, it's been or the female gender rather, it's been pretty brutal. And it's been a very hard time, I think, for young women and for women of all ages to deal with. And I'm really glad that today we can show both the stories of strong women and men who support women, so that if you're tuning in and maybe you don't know how awesome dudes can be, and you've just been listening to this one dude recently or one particular dialogue on repeat, like, know that you can be loved, that men do respect you, that they love your body, that they will not disrespect you. And I think that there's a lot of hope here today, and that's the message that we are trying to convey. Also, Alexander, I really appreciate that you love the personal wine pour. Charlie, that shout out goes to you. Charlie, why don't you come over here for a second, baby? You might as well show everyone.
Yeah, hi, Charlie.
Yeah, come on. It's not like he hasn't had to be listening to this
the world
since the wee hours. So this is my here. Actually, we'll mic you for a sec. Charlie, are you a feminist?
I would say by the definition, I am a feminist.
Good. Can you guys hear him? I can't hear. That's too bad. Okay.
Here, take that.
I'm gonna. Thank you. Well, technically that was more challenging than the wine pour, but that's okay. I don't know why all of my single headphones aren't working. Sorry, guys. It's been a problem all day. So, Vinny, aside from being eloquent and talking about the ways that we communicate, you were kind enough to join us in our morning broadcast today. But for those who weren't with us or weren't quite as West Coast early bird gets the worm as I was, can you tell us a little bit about the vibe in Florida right now? How's the energy globally? I think the whole world knows it was a swing state. So what's going on?
Yeah, no, sure. Central Florida is kind of this bellwether of how the country is going to go. And the county I live in is Hillsborough County, where Tampa's located, is roughly would be, if it was a state, it would be the size, the 8th largest state in the union.
It's wild.
It's large, and it also is very split on party lines. We voted for Hillary, but it's also because we've had a lot of contention along the lines of civil, human, and gender rights in our county. We had a fight over LGBT displays in public libraries, where the library was not allowed to display LGBT-related books during Pride Month, and that was an ordinance put on the books only 8 years ago or 10 years ago. Well, maybe it was 12 now, but it was only repealed officially about 2 years ago. And so we've had this fight in the streets, in the county commission offices, in the city council offices here over the last 12 years. And so everybody here is quite familiar with it. And I think that's why we've got a lot of dialogue, but also a lot of anger. And I think that's what you touched on earlier, that the anger needs to stop in communication. And I think we're getting to a point where we're talking more civilly about it. I'm going to see what happens.
I think that's really all we can see what happens. And I'm glad that in talking to you and in talking to Jen and some of the other guests, there's a real spirit of hope and faith in action, that we are hoping that action can inspire some of that smooth communication that we're seeking. Because I had a really, it's been an interesting week. Let's just put it that way. And going off to dinner last night, I turned off my phone. I'd been getting ready for this broadcast. I needed an hour of time for Charlie. Needed a little staff time. And I just kind of colloquially, I made the mistake of asking our waiter, how's the vibe been in here tonight? How are people feeling in the election? And for those of you unfamiliar, I'm in San Francisco. We voted pretty polar one way. And he goes, it's been pretty quiet. I think everyone's just at home crying. I wish they would just stop whining and accept that this is the fate. I don't really understand why anyone's even marching tomorrow. It's not like he's not going to be president. And I had to really take a deep breath and think about how I was going to approach this, because this guy was going to be waiting on me for the next 90 minutes. But I think what disappointed me most is the notion that this action was somehow in boycott or lack of recognition of our current president. That's actually false. Like, that's not what this is about. The point is to show the current government what we believe. And what we believe is that women's rights, minority rights, immigrant rights, race rights, everyone deserves the same equal rights under our law here in America. Yeah.
There's a challenge to that. And when I watched after Obama's election in 2008, the Tea Party movement started off as a very libertarian, moderate movement. It was not what it turned out to be. And it was a movement that didn't control for its own brand and where it was going, and it got hijacked. It ended up becoming, instead of a way for the Republican Party to rebuild itself more moderately, it became an entryway for the conservative Christian evangelical movement to retain power of the party. And it was really disappointing to see. And I think the same thing happened in some respects with Occupy, where it was a movement that was more organic, it was more moderate, but it didn't have direction. And then so it got labeled liberal Democrat. And so the concern with this is the Women's March. Again, you're going to have people that are not going to get deep into the details, that don't know what it's about. You talked earlier about the, feminism compared to egalitarianism or humanism. These words have meaning, and a lot of it now, Sheryl Sandberg with her book Lean In, finally in her TED Talk, she talked about feminism also means that my son has to be okay with being allowed to be a homemaker if that's what they choose to be. And I think
100%.
how this evolves is going to be very important and a challenge to make sure it does become all encompassing, because yes, feminism, while I'm a feminist, the word is charged with some people. And so figuring our way to navigate that is important.
Yeah, no, you may have seen, I posted it a couple weeks ago. I just asked, like, what's the deal with feminism? You know, why, if you don't identify as a feminist, what's the deal? How do we rebrand it? What do I do to get more men and anyone, doesn't matter who, to identify? You know, it's funny, my company name is Savvy Millennial, and I'm a feminist, so I'm constantly trying to rebrand words that have a weird connotation, clearly as my personal side mission. And I think what I found was so interesting is, most people don't know that feminist just means equal rights for both, which is interesting, because to me there's just like a baseline level of education there that could potentially happen. But even more shockingly, everyone said feminism just needs a different word. And what I thought was interesting is, I get it, sometimes words get stale and words have a very negative connotation, but historically we change words when they carry with them a prejudice or a racist connotation. And what I think is interesting is you know, the term feminist apparently holds a very strong female connotation, and that's somehow in the same class as a few other words that we rebrand. So I think it's going to be interesting. I mean, I'm not advocating for one or the other. I'm more looking at it as a writer and as a linguist and saying, it's interesting. I'm very curious to see how this evolves.
We have made continuous progress in
you know, the words are they're difficult. They're not as easy to understand as you might think. And it depends on somebody's upbringing. You know, when we talk about with this election.
Less than human. So we are somehow.
Oh, actually, maybe we'll tune in just for a second to San Luis Obispo if we can. If you, Rob, I don't know if the audio is clear enough for us to hear them, but might be fun. We'll just see what's going on there.
Respect as human beings. A verse in the Quran says, "The believing men and the believing women are guardians of one another. They enjoin what is right and forbid what is wrong." This means that we are all made to protect and support one another, to take care of one another, and to stand for what is right and to denounce what is wrong. This means you do not stay silent when you know something is unjust, because there can be no peace when there is no justice. This verse was revealed when society was in a state of turmoil, and God told us to unite under threatening circumstances. Regardless of your belief system, we can all learn from these words, because we are again in a state of turmoil. We are threatened. We are being targeted by policies that diminish us as humans, which will only result in history repeating itself, where a group suffers immensely while everyone else stands by, silently allowing it for it to occur. But I do not want to go down in textbooks as a sad history lesson. These problems can only be resolved if we all, as men and women, work towards the common goal of establishing mutual respect for each other. We need to unite under the principle that although we are not the same, we are all equal.
Nice.
And this is the only way we will be able to move towards peace, justice, and equality amongst us all. It has always been said that this is a man's world, but really, who run the world? Girls.
For those of you just joining us, this footage is live from San Luis Obispo, California, a small town of just over 40,000, halfway in between Los Angeles and San Francisco on the coastal side. I happen to be from this lovely small town, and our volunteer citizen journalist, Christina Delecta, is with us. She has been broadcasting in and out all afternoon, showing us young women and adults there in their pussy hats. And right now, actually, some great advocacy and words of wisdom on why today matters and what we're all about, which is truly equality, union, and no predefined gender roles or any roles for anyone. So Christina, I know you can't hear us right now, but you have just really done a fantastic job this morning of showing us what's going on the ground. One of the delightful things about some of the smaller cities, if you are watching and you're thinking about tuning in, even from home, is you have Wi-Fi. Everyone in these large cities actually has been unable to connect to our broadcast except for a little bit of audio here and there. So if you are on the fence about joining us, I really encourage you to tune in. bit.ly/Women's March Live is how you can come into this lovely production set manned by Rob Hicks. And we've got some really jazzy tunes coming out of the San Luis Obispo sesh as well. I'm digging it. We would love to hear what's going on in your city. This is your chance to be heard. All of the information is right there next to me. You can feel free to dial in. I'll try and figure out exactly. I don't know how the weather people do this. This is really impressive. So we hope to have you join us no matter your time zone. I'm Savannah Peterson, your host for the day, but really none of this matters or is possible without Enlightened, Audiovisual, Rob Hicks, Vincenzo Landino, Aftermark, my fabulous partner, Charlie Rogers, who's been supporting me since 5 a.m. and refilling my wine glass as we talk wine, we talk women, we talk equal rights, we've even talked weapons, public service, what it means to be a Republican. There is nothing that's off limits today. The only rule is that you come here with a peaceful and deliberative message. You are welcome to pose something potentially controversial, but you are not welcome to get angry or throw shade, because that is not what we are here to do today. And we are trying to create the citizen dialogue and conversation that propels us into a very new, positive future together here in America. Alexander, what's up from the East Bay? By the way, I want to give you a proper shout out. You've been chiming in the comments and we really love it. Every time I get to see one of them, I'm super excited. If you see anything rad in the East Bay, please do send us photos. We may end up doing a later broadcast today, and we would be happy to share all of those things. I think as California is still somewhat waking up, I'm surprised we haven't heard from our LA crew lately. So I saw a great question earlier from Charlie about, so what do we do next? And I think that's a really good question. Jen, if you're still in the room, and actually, Vinny, I'd love to go back and forth between the two of you. We can even put the two of you on the screen. Everyone's seen enough of me. I would love to pose the question to both of you, and you can actually speak very micro if you'd like, even what kind of steps can people take, both, do you think, in large and also in your particular communities who may be listening right now and tuned in, to further promote messages of equality and love, and how can they get involved? Vinny, I know you're actually a part of many organizations, so I'll kick it off to you first, and then let's go to Jen.
Well, I listened to Michael Moore's talk in DC, and he said, about calling your representatives and your senators and your state representatives and senators. And it's really, when you talk about learning, it's people can make a difference, and it takes action though. They have to make those calls. They have to reach out. They have to engage. It's not just about showing up for a march today, holding a sign. You have to call tomorrow. You have to email tomorrow. You have to get involved with the local party. You have to get involved with nonprofits that are working on stuff like that. That's how it's going to happen. And all of this energy needs to turn into action that way. And there's so many organizations that people can do that through.
Yes, just real quick before we flip it over to Jen, because that's awesome and I'm not trying to interrupt. Tiffany, I saw you just joined. We will, just after this question, we have Tiffany live in San Diego, giving us a new city for today, which is going to be very exciting. And so we'll give her a second to set up. Hi, Kari, also in San Diego. What's up, girl? It's really great to see you. I wish we had gotten to hang out in Las Vegas at CES this year. I wasn't there. I don't even know if you were. But we are all reuniting over the Women's March today. Women, it's so awesome to have you with us. So, Vinny, I think that's great. I think you really just ran down all the different organizations. And just so, just in case people want to find you personally, before we parlay to Jen, where are you most active? What organization? Yeah.
Anywhere you can find me at Vinny Tafuro, and that's Vinny with a Y, Tafuro. And my book, laborcage.com as well, where, like I said, I talk about the economic scenarios that we're running through right now.
Yes. Oh, you should hold a copy up. I have one in the apartment somewhere too, if you need that. Jen, what about you? What are your thoughts for folks? And for those of you just tuning in, the dialogue right now is about what beyond today, what is there? What are the organizations, groups, and actions people can do to continue to support equality beyond?
I think that there's great communities and organizations that are out there. I'm not as knowledgeable as Vinny is, and I appreciate him sharing some of those out there. But I think it starts even smaller than that. I have a friend of mine that's in Southern Maryland, and she not only got her pink cap and she's out there marching, but she's taking her daughter out there, her daughter who is 11, 12 years old. And that is where it starts. I mean, you're setting an impression for a lasting legacy. You're empowering yourself, you're empowering your daughter, you're teaching her that what you believe in, what you stand for, you can get out and you can make a difference, you can stand up for things. And just like we saw in the previous footage, little girls that are young women, little girls are young women that understand and grow up to continue that throughout their life and throughout their communities wherever they touch. So I think it starts even smaller and getting your kids involved.
Absolutely. This is probably the fifth sort of groundbreaking point you've had of the day, and you're just killing it. This is your new other hustle. This is like a nonpartisan spokesperson for equal rights, in addition to wine connoisseur and viticulturist. We'll work on. Yes!
Yay!
Oh my gosh! Yay! That's amazing. Cheers! Cheers to you, my dear. Just quick pause. No, I think you're absolutely right, and I think I'm actually gonna give a little personal story I wasn't anticipating sharing, but I think actually I know the reason that I am the passionate, soul-fueled equality advocate that I am is because of what my mother showed me as a young girl. And she is a chiropractor, an amazing healer. And when I was just a young girl in the late 80s and early 90s, she was treating HIV and AIDS patients without any hesitation. And it was a time before we knew what T cells were. It was a time before we had medication. It was a time before we truly understood what was going on, by and large, in the mainstream media. And my mother was bringing me with her to spend time with these beautiful human beings. And I, from that moment forward, I never understood why we were prejudiced really against anything. And I had the good fortune of her taking me around the world, then to Belize and Central America and all over. And I didn't understand why we even noticed skin color, why we noticed body weight, why we even talked about what someone did when they're naked. I just never really got it. And time obviously showed me the harsh reality of how the rest of the world says it, and it almost sounds utopian as I say this out loud, but I truly have my mother to thank. And to your point, to your friends bringing their daughters, I mean, truly, like, snaps and claps to them. It's where it starts. And even greater props to those who are bringing their sons and coming with their husbands, because it starts with all of us. And the younger it starts, the harder it is to shake. Right? I mean, everyone jokes that children are wonderful ducklings and that they mimic their parents and how they walk and how they do certain things. And I think that the same is true for their support for equality. And that goes for their parents and for their parents' friends. And so really shout out to all the multiple generations that are out there right now, whether that be grandmas, mothers, daughters, sons, friends, everyone. Awesome. And speaking of mothers and friends and wonderful women, we have Marla, who was with us earlier, back from, she seems to have made it safely out of her vehicle and has joined the festivities in Los Angeles. Marla, how are you? Welcome back. We can hear a great marching beat.
Hey, it's Marla.
Hey, Marla, how you doing, babe?
Well, all I can say is I've got chills. I drove in. It was easy to park, and 2 blocks away, it's like everybody in Los Angeles is here. It's I actually want to cry. It's very moving. Like I said, when I was about 10, I got to go to Manhattan against the Vietnam War, and I was too young to step out, but now I'm in the middle of it, fulfilling my promise of 1968, thinking, wow, I want to be out there among these people. And it's all colors, creeds, sizes, sexual preferences, young, old, people wheeling their kids, people in wheelchairs, lots of pink hats on boys, on girls. It's peaceful. There's one guy here wearing a Public Enemy #1 shirt with Trump. There's another man with a bullhorn talking about we're all going to go to hell and Jesus, but that's the only person I've seen so far. But it's unbelievable. It's just amazing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. No, we're all just in silence and in awe of your beautiful citizen reporting, dear. This is a really good a rendition of what's going on. Don't feel like you have to hold in your emotion for us. We're right there with you.
Here are the signs. Cancel food public so we will not accept bigotry, hate, sexism, racism, traitorism, xenophobia, homophobia, homemade signs, printed signs. Like I said, a sea of pink hats, pink hoodies, little girls, big girls, boys, little boys. It's amazing. I don't know. Do I have enough bandwidth for you to get any video at this point?
You can certainly try. I believe if you tap your screen, there should be a little camera that shows up in the corner while you're talking to us. Rob, can you talk her through it if she has a little trouble?
Okay, that's great. Well, I have the coin.
Either way, we have great audio with you right now. So
I'm on the edge of my seat. Like
I know, me too. Yeah.
Okay, let me see. I go to Zoom, right?
Yes. Rob, can you talk her through this a little bit?
No, it says join a meeting or sign up or sign in. What do I need to do? Because I had you dial
Join the,
me.
Oh yeah, join the, yeah.
And isn't this the best part about being live is you get to see everything, good, bad, real technical connections. Talk about being authentic.
Right.
This is authentic.
Okay, let me try to dial in again. Okay, a different way. All right, darling?
All right, you got it, girl. You're doing great. We're loving it. You're doing great. We've got a live shot over the city right now, so we're doing everything we can to pull in while you're getting set up. Thank you, Marla. That was a really moving intro. I don't even know if you can hear me right now, but you're awesome. Oh, cool. Is this an aerial right now over Los Angeles, I'm assuming? Yes. Whoa, thank goodness I'm enough of a Californian to be able to recognize it from the air. This is good. So we are, who you just heard there is Marla Schulman. She's been a friend of mine for half a decade, and a very wonderful woman and someone who's done a lot for equal rights for so many different people through media advocacy, through work she does with startups. And she is on the ground in Los Angeles. She initially dialed in this morning while she was driving in. I was actually afraid we might not catch her because of Los Angeles's notorious traffic. And I'm so stoked she was able to get a parking spot. Sometimes serendipity's got your back. And we look forward to bringing her back in live. It appears she would be in that large crowd. If she is, in fact, at the Millennium Biltmore, I stayed there just a few months ago, familiar with the area. She's right in the heart of downtown. She will be very close, actually, to the scene that we're looking at right now. I would imagine Marla's only 3 or 4 blocks from what we're looking at right now. So she's literally stepping into the mass, like she said, of all of Los Angeles. I just got word, actually, from our friends in San Diego that the march is about to start here in 20 minutes. They're ready to roll. Shortly, I'm going to tell them actually to dial in a little bit ahead of time. I think they're trying to capture the beginning of the march, but I'm going to go ahead and let them know to come in early. But we have a squad of 2 down there, just to give you a teaser, and in case you want to do a little research before we have them live. Dino Gomez and Tiffany T. World, they are 2 amazing humans. They're both very digitally famous in a lot of different ways. Tiffany is the best-selling author, and Dino is perhaps the best SEO master I've ever met in my life, and I happen to have the good fortune of knowing him for over a decade. So I think it's going to be, oh shoot, we just had Oakland in the meeting. I didn't realize it. Rob, if Carlo comes back in, snag him. He's our Oakland correspondent. Yeah, so San Diego is going to be awesome. I know Oakland is actually starting around the same time, so we might get a pretty cool snapshot of what's going on all over if we can manage to get Marla, Carlo, and Tiffany in on video, we could have 3 cities in California live, along with Jen and I here reporting from our other largest cities, which is kind of fun. This is great. This is everything we wanted.
As long as the wine keeps going, I'm here for you. I'm here for the march. And like I said earlier, I raised my glass in solidarity.
There's nothing wrong with autonomy. That's a part of being an empowered woman. Alexander, you're killing it on the comments right now. Just seeing you type all of it gives us energy. And many of us have been at this for the last 5 hours plus. For some of us, that meant a pre-5 a.m. alarm today. So, and it's all worth it. I would have not slept. It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. But point being, your comments, your questions, they keep us really excited. Here we are live, actually looking at San Diego. Wow, it kind of looks like it's raining there. I'm feeling really lucky. It's seldom that San Diego has rain and San Francisco doesn't. Right now, we've got just weird overcast and hazy clouds for the Oakland March and the San Francisco March in a few hours. This is looking pretty good. Okay, it looks like there's quite a few people assembled. Oh, we've got Vinny screen sharing.
Ooh.
Ooh. Oh, nice. Is this what's going on in St. Pete's?
Yeah, this is downtown St. Petersburg.
Oh, nice.
A friend of mine was out. Oh, it skipped to her last video. But I do have some. I realize I can share the screen now, and definitely some large crowds. I don't know if you can see this one.
Mm-hmm.
My choice, my body, my choice. So yeah, it looks like there's quite the crowd down there. If I can find another video, I'll bring it up.
Awesome. No, it's so fun to see all of the, I showed the, what was the image earlier? The White Guys for Justice image. It's amazing to see all the different maker and homemade stuff. Oh, awesome. Okay, guys, I'm going to send some stuff over to Rob. I'm getting some really nice images coming from Washington, D.C. Some of them a little graphic, but we'll make sure we censor that just enough. This is fantastic. I'm going to forward it along. I'm trying to get our San Diego crew here signed up as well. Oh, good. We've got photos coming over from Piedmont and the East Bay, too. All right. Oh, this is really awkward. Cool. So, Vinny, if you could hear one conversation, and Jen, this question goes for you too. If you both could hear one conversation end today, what would it be? What conversation do you wish was over?
I think, when you look at this idea about the popular vote and the Electoral College, that's one that it's not going to change. And when you look at how Obama won, you win by winning over a supreme majority. Like even if there was no Electoral College and Hillary had won, half the country is upset. And we really need to figure out how to come together on a much broader way. And then that makes that argument irrelevant. And that's what I'd love to see.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. That excellent.
In that way. Don't try to win on technicalities.
And lead by some example, hug a stranger, tell a story. I mean, I don't mean to shamelessly plug what I'm doing, not next, but launching this year. But if you are compelled by this type of storytelling and building the bridge matters to you, I'm starting a new series called Secret Sauce, which are interesting and unexpected stories from inside companies and humans that we didn't know before. And one of the real goals of what I'm trying to do is get opposites who've attracted to introduce each other. So I'm hoping that minorities or historically opposing stereotypes will nominate and then introduce each other to the show. So for example, it would be great to have a radical evangelical friend of mine introduce a Muslim that he works with who does a really great job, or integrating a man and a woman. I mean, it can be that simple. But what I'm trying to do is show by example that, and same thing with Ford and the VR, that women are leading VR at a large motor company. The idea is just to disrupt the norms that we have in our mind. And to my point earlier, seeing is believing. Once you see that there is this unity and that we are all the same, it's really hard to think that we're not. So I hope that that's something that comes out of the show and what we're doing. Oh, is this LA we've got coming up in the corner over here? Oh no, San Diego. Nice. Oh, cool. Wow. All right. Are these? Oh, this is Christina. Okay, so we're cool. Awesome. So we are in San Luis Obispo still. Oh, it looks like it did start raining. That's too bad. Nice to see though. It's not a lot of political buildings in San Luis Obispo, so I'm not quite sure where they could be marching today, but I'm curious to see where they end up. Jen, what's the conversation you would like to see end? I like that you're kind of on the other corner of the country.
You know, I hear a lot of people being upset one way or another of the way our political landscape is right now, and just the negativity behind it is killing me. Like, this is fight for your opinion and fight for your rights, but then at some point just focus on making our world a little bit of a better place. Focus on some of the positivity. I'd like to strip out a little bit of the negativity. I've worked in the government. I was in the military. I've gone a very wide spectrum of a route. And I look at all of this as a lot of these things, this too shall pass. That mantra in the back of my head, political arena. Negativity is not going to feed anything. It's not going to change anything, and it actually turns people off. So if you want something to change, keep it in a positive life, build a community around it, empower each other, and move forward. I think those are good mantras to keep in mind as you go throughout life, period.
Yeah, I mean, yes, words to live by. You know, I gotta say, talk about another story I wasn't expecting to share, but I guess it's just one of those days. So
I have been called Dr. Phil before.
Yeah, you're killing it. Although this one I even throws you for a loop. This doesn't have to do with my family, my mommy, or my daddy issues. This is so I used to work for Shapeways, the 3D printing marketplace and community, and I've done a lot of work with the bronies. And for viewers not familiar, bronies are grown men who like My Little Pony, the cartoon.
Oh.
And the female equivalent of this is Pegasister, just so we're clear and gender neutral here today. And the assumption is that bronies are, I'll just be honest, people think they're pedophiles, or they think there's something creepy about grown men liking cartoons. And I'm here to tell you today that is the antithesis of what the bronies are. The bronies are actually one of the most... Yes, marching in San Luis, we hear you. The bronies would love this. It's very appropriate for them too. The creed of the brony, the point is, bronies are wonderful humans. Don't ever judge grown men who like cartoons. There's a lot of them. There's nothing wrong with that. But the creed that they live by is peace, love, and magic. So whenever they're making a decision about how to act or what to do, they have to act in love, peace, or magic. And it's actually really lovely when you think about it, because we all go, people get aggressive, or they get, blunt, rude. And if you just thought about saying that same message in a peaceful, loving way and maybe magically converting someone, it might be different. So shout out to the bronies this morning. Yeah. Apparently that was nice. Yes.
But it's such an interesting perspective that even as our culture is changing, and that there are things equalizing and becoming more acceptable in not only our an American culture, but our military culture. I mean, being openly transgender or heterosexual or homosexual, like these things are all changing, that people are in a very small niche in a community that loves cartoon, though they may be specific types of cartoon. There are tons of grown men that play video games, and those are cartoons too. Let's put this in perspective. There's
Yes.
a lot of cartoons out there, so and that's such a great mentality to have, is that put it all into perspective. Like, just because there's one very small niche or one very specific thing that seems a little bit strange, put a little perspective on it, and you're going to come out on the better end.
Absolutely, and it's always nice to have a filter that you can apply over things. You know, am I acting in a loving way? Am I walking in peace? Is this coming from a place of respect? If I was on the other side of this, how would I feel about it? And I think, you know, it's you got to ask yourself those questions, and you can't say you're
wet here, guys.
Oh, nice. I love it. It's a little wet and slow. Looks like everyone's still marching though. Good on them. Can't really tell. That's great. Cool.
How long are many of the marches supposed to continue? Like all day into the evening, or I haven't paid attention. I know you said 20 minutes for San Diego, right?
Yeah, they should be actually joining us here just a second. I'm hoping they're coming soon. So that's a great question. So marches actually started yesterday for us, which was the 21st on the other side of the date line in New Zealand. They're the closest ones to the 24-hour flit from us, and are continuing all the way through. I know the protest here in San Francisco isn't actually until after 3 p.m. So we're not even marching here until hours after this broadcast now. And I do believe if we're looking at Hawaii, I think they're also in the afternoon. So it's really an all day thing, which is kind of wild. This is why we just decided to create a couple different broadcasts and see what stuck, see what we got to see where. If you had told me we were going to get the best footage from San Luis Obispo, California, I wouldn't have believed you, but I couldn't be prouder of Christina down there repping the 805. Shout out to everyone from the 805 and currently in the 805. Central Coast of California is super underrated, but I'm happy to see those ladies are still out there, and gentlemen, marching in the rain. Earlier, Christina did some great interviews with some young children, some young girls, and they all shared one reason for being there today, and that was women's rights are equal rights. I think that is pretty fantastic. So thank you to her especially for being out there. Oh, here we go. It looks like we have Tiffany in the green room. Perhaps Tiffany and her boyfriend Dino are two of my great friends, and they are our crew down in San Diego today. We're so excited to have them with us. We have a lot of friends there, and these two are, as I said, Tiffany is a best-selling author. Dino is the best man I know in SEO and a great digital consultant in a lot of different capacities. But beyond that, they're two really great humans who definitely believe in equality, and we are so lucky to have them here on our show broadcasting from San Diego today. Cheers to both of them. Tiff, if we could just get you to rotate your camera, it'll show up better in our broadcast. Oops, it looks like she just popped out. We'll hang out until they get here. If you're curious about who's about to be on, Tiffany T. World is who she is as a brand on Facebook. Her best-selling book just came out about 2 months ago. Dino is behind Dynamite SEO. And what's fun about these two is they were two of the first to jump on board when we had this idea, and we posted about it to see if we could have virtual correspondence. San Diego was the first to jump on the bandwagon, and that says a lot, actually. So many people think the entire state of California is all blue, and that's false. There are a lot of Republican counties and districts here in the Golden State, and San Diego often goes Republican. So is the interior of Los Angeles. San Luis Obispo County is about 50-50 where I'm from and where you're seeing some of the video on the left from. And it's not until you start to creep up here north and staying very, very coastal that you see that blue line that people historically associate with the state. So one of the cool things about California is we represent more perspectives than people think. Just because we vote one way in the Electoral College, there's actually a lot of diversity here, and it's awesome to have San Diego and San Luis Obispo represented in addition to us here. I saw someone was trying to get in from Oakland as well, but we'll hope that they can maybe make it in later. And not to mention, not to diminish Virginia. Ooh, who do we have? So, Jen, which wine are you drinking right now?
Get it right. I don't have this. I'm not muted. Oh, okay, good. It's like I gotta get all this right. Technical things. Rob and Sam do an amazing job with. Me, not so much. I drink the wine. That's what I do. So I was talking about Old Westminster Winery, who has a great family of predominantly women, and women in even in a volunteer and extended family.
There's a lot of people here.
I'm drinking their Somme Cuvée, their 2013 Somme Cuvée out of Maryland.
Ooh, nice.
I love it. They've done everything right, getting, sourcing from all over Maryland, which gives them such a great amount of grapes to work with and blend, make these red blends. And they brought in a French consultant, so they're doing Bordeaux styles like nobody else. And I love to support local. I support women that are in a predominantly male-dominated industry such as winemaking, and bringing them to light. I'm hoping going forward just to do one of my shows for Wine Antics Live about women winemakers, because just in almost every, like you mentioned, the tech field, it's a lot of the same of the winemaking world, that you have these boundaries that are set in place because there is a system. It's been dominated by X amount of people for so long that you now have to, figure your way, navigate your way. And it doesn't mean that somebody's fighting against you per se. It's just that there's a way that things have been done and you have to show them the light.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's what I'm drinking on a 2:00 on a Saturday, because day drinking, that's a thing.
It's our women's right. Quite frankly, it's everyone's equal right, as a matter of fact, to have fermented grape juice or whatever your adult beverage is, if you are of age, and not operating heavy machinery or a motor vehicle at any time in the near future. Nice little safety PSA.
I know, right? I'm really surprised Vinny has stayed strong and has not joined us in the wine movement.
It's tempting, but I'm going to try to get a run in today. We're in that beautiful time in Florida where the weather's actually tolerable to run in the middle of the day.
Oh, nice. Well, I was going to say, I say you're surprised. I was going to say, I'm disappointed. I'm ready for Vinny to bring the heat. I know he knows how to party. Tampa knows how to party. Vinny taught me that. So
we do.
Yeah, Gasparilla Music Festival Interactive, the whole vibe down there in Tampa. If you haven't been to Tampa, I actually have a piece, 5 Reasons That I Love Tampa Bay. I have a real soft spot for it. I can tell you that it's 100% because of Vinny.
Yeah.
A lot of people might be thinking some things about Florida right now, but you should know that it's not what you think it is. In fact, Florida man is not just the stereotype, but someone like Vinny as well.
Well, thank you.
I just froze, so I need some battery up in here.
We have the big Gasparilla Pirate Festival is next weekend, which is also
I feel like that's Tampa's Mardi Gras.
It is, very much so, very much so. And my 40th birthday is Thursday, so they're throwing this party for me.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Have you planned your pirate attire yet?
I am not doing pirate attire. I am going to host some friends for some Bloody Marys and mimosas, and we're going to walk down and catch some beads and check out the flavor.
Wow, I was more on the mark with that than I thought. There's beads and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice pull, Jen. You must hang out with people or something pretty often.
Okay.
Ooh, do we have San Diego? Is that what we got? Awesome. It sounds like we might be starting to get our feed from San Diego. I hear Dino's voice, which I really like. Also,
what's going on?
What's up, buddy?
Sorry, I pressed on the wrong thing. We're supposed to join later, it said, but we're new to Zoom.
Oh, yay, it's so good to see you. Hey, can you guys turn your camera? You're looking so good.
So there's a lot. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great. Can you go into landscape mode?
Yes. So there's a ton of people here.
That's great.
Of all of, I just dropped my notes. Of all, I mean, there's signs in multiple languages. It's awesome. People from
That's so cool. So for everyone who's tuning in, this is Tiffany, and she's with her boyfriend Dino. They're fabulous, as I mentioned. She's a fantastic best-selling author. He's a master of the internet, but most importantly, they are egalitarians, feminists, and they're here to show us what's going on in San Diego. Tiffany just told us there's a bunch of people. What's the energy like, Tiffany? What's it like in San Diego?
The energy is really, really good. Actually, everybody's positive, and their signs are uplifting. A couple of them, let's see, I had to write it down. A couple of them say love, not hate. Everyone loves America. Unity with a big heart around it. There's even a father that's a crowd feminist here.
That's good. I think there should be a lot of fathers. That's great.
Yeah. A lot of them are saying peaceful warriors. So that's awesome. Everybody's just like, the energy's good. It's raining. So people with like coats on, or there's plastic coats, but everybody's straight and still keeping peace.
That's great.
They're just all uniting together for what they stand for.
That's so good. That's so important. So, Tiffany, on a personal note, what brought you out to the march today? And I'd love if you asked Dino as well. You can interview him. But what brought you out today?
Well, I just really, I believe that people standing up for what they believe, no matter what that is. And whatever your view is or whatnot, I totally believe in coming together for that cause and support that instead of just sitting on the sidelines doing nothing. So, would you like me to ask Dina the same question?
Yeah, that's great. That was an awesome answer, Tiff.
Okay. Dino. Let me give him an earphone. So Dina wants to know what. Here, you can go ahead and ask Savannah. He can hear you now.
Hey, Dino. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us.
What's going on? Thanks so much for having us.
It's great to see your mug always, and especially to come together on a day like this when we're both supporting equality and peace. So my question is, buddy, why did you come out today? What drove you in your heart to come out today?
Main reason to come out today was just really support that. Women deserve to be treated equally in absolutely every regard. Their voice deserves to be heard, and it's a peaceful gathering. It's not it's not for the wrong intentions. It's not, you could never call it anything like a riot. It's a group of people coming together that want to make sure that women and just everybody has 100% equality, that they're treated right, that their voice is heard, that the playing field is level, that nobody's disrespected, and so we're here to support that. It's a positive movement rather than some type of like riot or protest, in that regard. And so that's why we're out here today.
I love it. So tell us a little bit about the crowd in San Diego. What's the age range? What's the youngest you've seen, oldest? What are we looking at?
Do you want me to,
either way,
we'll see if we can get some.
Yeah, we can hear both of you very well. So you're actually, we have great audio, so you can show us whatever you want. We're good.
Okay, well, so we'll kind of move around so you guys can see, but the march started probably about 20 minutes ago, and people are just taking off. We're in San Marcos, California, and so the age ranges, gosh, we're seeing a lot of families out here. It's a mutual, it's a massive demographic. There's all people of all different ages, genders,
wheelchairs.
There's a little bit of everything out here. It's cool, and it's cold, and it's windy out, and it's raining, and you still get everybody out here that's out here to support and to march and to gather and unite. So it's a good scene.
That's so cool. I think we've been emphasizing all day on the show that it's about bringing everyone together of all shapes, sizes, colors, races, beliefs, whatever that may be. What was there anything you saw that was unexpected? Any signs? Any attendees you weren't expecting to see but were excited to see?
I wasn't expecting to see multiple languages, signs in multiple languages, but that was really cool. And then also, there's a lot of men here, which is very
That's
cool
great.
as well. And yeah, a lot of families. What about you?
That's so.
Yeah.
Go for it, Tino.
Go ahead there, Sam.
Okay.
Well, yeah. It's just awesome to see this many people out on a cold and rainy day in San Diego. Because let me tell you, people out here in San Diego, as soon as that mysterious liquid substance starts falling from the skies, people don't leave their houses. It's normally great weather out here. So the fact that this many people came out, given this weather and given we're in SoCal, that says a lot. So that's pretty awesome.
There was a really cute sign too that it was said, "Girls just want to have fun, the mental rights," and I thought that was adorable.
No, I think that's great. You guys are touching on the spirit too. It's about showing we care, not when it's convenient, not when it's sunny, not when it's hot outside and we can put our sunglasses on and throw up a peace sign in the selfie, but saying, nah, we care on the day that every other day that everyone in the world, there are over 600 events happening around the globe today. So you are a part of it. You're actually part of a movement with millions of people all over. We were showing footage from New Zealand. We talked to Milan earlier today. We've been in Tennessee, Ohio, New York, DC, Virginia. We're here with you now. It's so cool. If you could, given that you have the world listening right now, what is the one message you hope people take away from today? What do you hope everyone gets out of today and gets out of this coming together that we're having?
Just to stand up for what you believe in. Stand up for what you believe, especially as a positive gathering and motion like this. Together, you're gonna a belief and do so in a fashion in a format that's harming anyone else. That's just kind of expressing how they feel, the way they think things be, and then that's just that should be the takeaways. Everybody should always stand up for what you believe in, and yeah, that's what America's all about.
I think that your
can you guys hold the microphone just a little farther away? If you hold your mic a little farther away, I think we might be able to hear you better.
Takes important because you make a change in whatever it is, and if you want to see a change, you have to be the change yourself.
Yeah, absolutely, and that takes showing up. Absolutely, yeah, I love it. Well, if there's anyone
to interview anybody else here,
if you'd like to, if you've got someone you're talking to or you feel comfortable with, that would be totally cool. Otherwise, yeah. If you've got someone handy, it'd be great to ask them why they're there and marching. Yeah, please do. Go for it.
Let us see if we can grab someone.
Yeah.
Let's just stay here for a second.
Okay, so Dina's gonna go look for someone. And it's such a beautiful day, even though it's raining. And it's so cool to see all these people out here just standing up for what they believe in and just really uniting together as one and just showing their support. I mean, like you said, it's the times when it's like you're not so convenient that really prove a point to what people stand for and what people believe in. And there's like excuse me, hi, we're live right now. Do you mind? She just wrote a sign. So her sign says, "We are kind, smart, important, and we are always brave." Hi, what was your name?
My name is Lynn. I'm from Virginia. My family is in DC right now, and I told them that because I would be out here, I'd look for a sister march, and here it is. And I agree that people are standing up kindly, intelligently, and with importance to say we have to stay with this and make our voices heard. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And then Dina has somebody else here. So then we
Great.
Hi. Oh, and there's a little boy. Can you see him? How cute.
Oh, hi.
Hi, hello. What are your name? I'm KJ. And I'm Patty. And this is Bradley. And this is Bradley. And what are you guys
Hello.
like, what do you hoping that people can get from this? Protecting women's health issues, women's rights issues, being kind, human kindness, human rights is why I'm here.
And I'm here for the. I'm mostly concerned about the health issues, and if they're going to close down
Planned Parenthood.
the Planned Parenthood clinic, they do a lot of things for men. Also, it's not just women. Even that's why there's a lot of men here marching too. But it's not all about abortions; it's about everything. Planned Parenthood. So I don't want to see those closed. I was using Planned Parenthood years ago.
So
yeah,
hope everybody gets out and marches.
Thanks,
All right, well,
ladies.
thank you so much for taking your time with us.
Thank you.
Tiffany and Dino, that was fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Savannah. You're awesome. You freaking rock.
Mwah. It's so nice to have you both on the show. We are actually running out of our time limit today, and we have one more guest from New Zealand with us. Rosanna, I think, has popped into the green room. So I'm going to let you two get back to the festivities, but please do let me know if you're interested in joining us later, maybe with a wrap-up if you want. We might be coming back. So Dino and Tiffany, thank you again for joining us from San Diego. Rosanna, my sweet New Zealand mother, are you with us on the broadcast? I can't wait to say hi to you before we close it out. Maybe not. Regardless, Rosanna, if you're watching right now, I love you. Rosanna Simpson is my lovely best friend, Sean Simpson's mother, and she is my New Zealand mom. I like to have mothers in both hemispheres. So Robin Peterson, my lovely mother, and now here she is. Look at the beautiful, fabulous Kiwi Rosanna. We're trying to get her audio figured out right now. Let's see if Rob can steward it. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue to flatter her and say what a lovely human she is. A great example of women around the world. She was actually my date to the New Zealand High Tech Awards in Auckland back in May, and May gets to be my date again this year. So, Honey, I think your audio might be turned off. I don't know what's going on. This is so fun to have New Zealand, though, all the way from New Zealand to Milan today. Oh, what do you think's going on, Rob? In the meantime, Jesse Cox, I see you there in the Facebook comments. I love you, sweetheart. It is so touching to know that you have been watching the march and you've been with your son, and you warm my heart. Rosanna, you need to connect to the audio Wi-Fi, FYI, if you can hear me. I think that'll make you... You might be able to hear us. We can't hear you, unfortunately. But Jesse, just to close that out, I love you, girl. It's so nice that you're sitting there with your 12-year-old son, that you're talking to him about it, that you're exposing him to this, and that you're supporting our broadcast, and that your bae, Vinny, was with us earlier. We still can't hear you, Rosanna. I'm so sorry, love bug. Oh, we got you. We got you. We have you. Just turn your camera landscape, and then you're perfect. We can hear you, though. Yay!
Sorry for the headphones.
No, you look gorgeous even with the earmuffs. It's great. You're too cute. So how's it going in New Zealand today, sweetheart?
It's quiet after the storm, could you say?
Yeah.
We've had a storm overnight. So it's been pretty horrendous, needless to say. Although the sun is shining, see?
Oh, lovely. It's kind of the same here. We've had crazy storms all across the United States. I think a lot of these marches thought they were going to be underwater, literally. And thankfully they're not. How is New Zealand feeling right now? What's the vibe?
I think there is so much support. As I don't know whether you know that they were marching in Wellington yesterday.
Yeah, and Auckland and Dunedin.
Yeah, and I think just the I just think the unity for women, and not just for women, for men as well. I think there's so many people that are taking a stand to, for you guys, and for saying, hey, world, we can't accept what has happened. And I think it's really important that we travel a path, or the same path, and we keep our voices being heard.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing to hear, and women your age, and I hate to bring the age bracket into it, but they're out there and they're pushing, and they're saying, hey, the women that have gone before us, they've done their bit and they're here supporting us now. We've got a bigger voice. Let us take this to the world. And I think that's so cool. And it's really important, I've, as you know, been in an environment where it's been incredibly male dominated, and it took a lot of years to be recognized as a voice. And I have that now. And I don't want to lose that. Yeah, I don't want to lose that.
Yes, you do, sweetheart. I know. And a beautiful one at that, one I feel lucky to know, but also one
I just had this terrible thought that people are listening to me around the world, and I probably sound incredibly Kiwi, and you probably don't understand half of what I'm saying. Isn't that funny?
You're more legible than you think. Actually, I'd love to. I know it's very early in New Zealand still. I think we may be on a little bit later, and I want to bring you on for a longer snap, because you're so legible, love. And I think you're touching on exactly why we're all coming together. And I mean, age regardless, what I think is great is all the women are pushing right now. And frankly, all the men who love women are pushing, and everyone is trying to make everything work out. Just in case the audio cuts us off, I want to just say thank you to you in case we cut out here. Rosanna Simpson, live from the North Shore of New Zealand, my New Zealand mom, and a fabulous advocate for equality and women everywhere, someone who supports my international ventures as a woman. Rob Hicks, Enlightened, Audiovisual, Sam, Vincenzo Landino, Aftermark, the whole crew that has made this possible, Jen, Vinny, Tiffany, Dino, everyone from Milan to New Zealand who joined us on the show today. Thank you all very much. This was our first Women's March Live, our first active event with folks calling in, and we couldn't have been happier with everything you all had to say. We hope to do it again soon. Thank you, and we'll see you next time with whatever comes ahead. Whatever lies ahead.
Thanks, lovey.
Yes, love, thank you. You're the best.